Good morning, afternoon, or evening. How y'all doing today? Welcome back to Mr. Morrow's Algebra II class. Today we're going to talk about solving two-step and multi-step equations. This is going to be the same skills that you're going to use no matter how difficult or how complicated the equations are, okay? And just like we talked about in our 2-1 video, the goal of solving any equation, guys, is of course to isolate the variable, get it by itself. That's the goal. And when we're solving, we want to solve for that variable over 1. I don't want you to get confused with this. What I mean by this is if we're solving, for example, let's just make an easy one, 2x over, equals 4. When I divide by 2, I'm solving for x. X equals 2. Notice that there is an invisible 1 down here. X is in the numerator when we're solving for variables, and it's positive. And there's nothing being multiplied to it, okay? You want to get that bad boy all by itself. So the procedures for solving two-step equations are pretty simple. The first thing you're going to do when you're solving a two-step equation is you're going to look to see if there's anything being added to the x. It could be a positive that's being added to the x. It could be a negative that's being added to the x. But you're going to look for that and you're going to undo addition and or subtraction first. Once that is complete, you're going to be left with a number that's either being multiplied to the variable or divided, okay, to the variable. And you're going to undo any multiplication and or division second. And then that's it. You're done. Two-step equations are pretty easy. Just like they're stated, it's 2 steps. For example, I have 3n minus 4 equals 11. What I like to train you guys to do is to analyze each equation and ask the following questions. Okay, is there anything being added to this n? Yes, sir. Yeah, there is something being added to this n. There's a negative 4 that's being added to the n. Remember what we talked about as far as integers go already, okay? There is no real subtraction. Negative 4 minus 5 really equals a negative 4 plus a negative 5. There is no real subtraction. There's just addition. You're either adding positive or negative numbers together. So in this case, yes, there is being something added to the n, and it's a negative 4. And how would I get rid of that negative 4?
Do you add negative 4 to both sides?
No, you don't add negative 4, because if you add negative 4 to both sides, now what you have is 3n minus 8 equals 7. So no, that's not the right way to go. We have to undo addition and or subtraction. So there's a negative 4 here. How do I get rid of a negative 4? I add 4. You do the opposite always, my brothers. So I've got 3n equals 15. Now the next question I ask is there anything being multiplied to that n? And yes, sir. The 3. So how do I get rid of a multiplication? You divide 3 to both sides. Guys, those are the questions you want to ask every single time. Okay? Every single time. Number 2. Okay, I have y over 5 plus 2 equals 8. So I want to get rid of that positive 2. So I'm going to subtract 2 to both sides. And I've got y over 5 equals negative 10. Now I want to get rid of that 5 that's being divided to the y, and I get rid of division with multiplication. So if you think about it, there's an invisible 1 here in front of that y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. I'm going to multiply 5 to both sides, giving me y equals negative 50. And of course, when in doubt, you can always plug that in and see if it works, see if you got the right answer. For number 3, I got negative 14 equals negative 5 plus 3c. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And I've got negative 9 equals 3c. 3 is being multiplied to the c, so I'm going to divide 3 to both sides, and c will equal negative 3. Okay? Now, for number 4, we've got some fractions here, and we're going to dedicate a whole lesson to dealing with fractions and decimals. However, let me give you a little heads up on this. Technically, what you should do is add 1/3 to both sides. Then you got to get rid of the 2/5 that's being multiplied to x, and you would multiply by the reciprocal. But sometimes a lot of people get messed up with that. They don't like fractions. So the best way to get rid of fractions is to find the LCD and multiply every single term by the LCD. And what do you think the LCD would be here, gentlemen? Yes, sir. 30. So I'm going to multiply 30 to everything. And guys, when I say I'm going to multiply 30 to everything, I mean everything. So 30 times 2/5 is 60/5. I know that you know what that's going to simplify to, but let me show you step by step. Minus 30 times 1/3 is 30 over 3 equals 30 times 3 is 90 over 10. Now I can get rid of the denominators. That's the beauty of this. So 60 divided by 5, I've got 12x. Minus 30 over 3, that's 10. Equals 90 over 10, that's 9. Does that make sense so far, guys? Okay, now I want to add 10 to both sides. And I've got 12x equals 19. I divide by 12 to get rid of multiplication. And x equals 1 and 7/12. And that's the easiest way to work with fractions in an equation. But I promise you, we're going to have a whole lesson dedicated to that when everything is in fraction form. Okay, another anomaly that happens here in two-step equations is when you have a setup like this. You have y minus 4 over 2 equals 10, okay? This is a little bit of a different kind of animal here. Because what happens here really, if you guys remember the distributive property tells you to multiply the outside number to everything inside of the parentheses, right? Well, the same thing would happen with division. Since I have this y minus 4 being divided by 2, this 2 is really going to the y and the 4. So technically, this is really y over 2 minus 2 equals 10. And then you can go ahead and solve using the two-step procedures. However, there's an easier way. When it's in this format and this format only, guys, okay, I can switch up the orders. I can get rid of this denominator right from the get-go. How can I do that? Well, since I'm dividing the whole entire y minus 4 by 2, if I go ahead and multiply 2 to both sides, 2 over 1 to both sides, the 2's cancel here. I got y minus 4 equals 20, and now I've made this a one-step equation. Now I'm going to go ahead and add that 4 to both sides, and y will equal 24. Does that make sense, guys? It's a little bit easier than breaking it down and then solving it the long way, okay? So for example, number 6, x plus 3 over 5 equals -1. I've got this -5 that's affecting this whole entire x plus 3. So if I want to get rid of that, I'm just going to go ahead and multiply 5 to both sides. So I've got x plus 3 equals -5. I've got a one-step equation. I subtract 3 to both sides, gentlemen, and x will equal -8. For number 7, same kind of phenomenon. I'm dividing this whole d minus 7 divided by 7. So I want to get rid of that 7 by multiplying 7 to both sides. This is going to give me -14. The 7's cancel here, equals d minus 7. I add 7 to get rid of the -7, and -7 equals d. Okay? So be careful with that, please. Now, don't get confused. Okay? This guy here is not the same setup as we had before. This 5/8 is attached to the x and the x alone. So in this case, you do a two-step equation. You subtract 4 to both sides. -5 equals 5/8 x. 5/8 is being multiplied to x. So I get rid of multiplication by division. And remember, stay, change, flip. That's a little bit too much work. So since you know you're going to have a state change flip anyways, what you do to get rid of this fraction that's being multiplied to the variable alone is you multiply by the reciprocal. And when you multiply by the reciprocal, gentlemen, 8 cancels, the 5 cancels, and x equals negative 8. Are there any questions at all, my brothers, on two-step equations so far? Okay, thank you so very much. Okay, multi-step equations. Don't want to bore you, but I got to show you the same thing. The goal, isolate the variable. Get it by itself. You want to solve for x over 1. That's the goal for any equation. I don't care how simplistic or how difficult. Now, the procedures for solving multi-step equations, very simple. Number 1, complete any distributive property first. Number 2, combine like terms on both sides of the equation. Number 3, move all variables to one side. Once you've done this, gentlemen, you're going to be left with a two-step equation now. Undo addition and or subtraction, and then undo multiplication and or division. And that's how you solve multi-step equations. So let's get right to it. The best way to learn is to do it. So in this case here, I've got negative 20 equals negative 4x minus 6x. I don't have any distributive property to complete, but I can combine like terms. Negative 20 equals negative 10x. Divide by negative 10, and blammo, you got your answer. X equals 2. So that's simple. Number 2, hey, I don't have any distributive property, but I do have like terms to combine on one of these sides. So I've got 6 equals 1 plus 5 is 6 minus 2n. Subtract 6 to both sides. 0 equals negative 2n. Divide by negative 2. And n equals 0. Remember, 0 divided by any number is 0. If I have a 0 in the denominator, that's undefined. Number 3, I don't have any distributive property to complete. I cannot combine like terms on the sides because everything's already combined. What I do need to do, though, is move the x's to one side. So I can choose to move the 8x over to where the 7x is, or I can choose to move the 7x over to where the 8x is. I'm going to keep it positive, so I'm going to subtract 7x to both sides. This gives me x minus 2 equals negative 9. I add the 2 to both sides. X equals negative 7. Is that making sense, gentlemen? Okay. Now, sometimes you get false statements. And when you have a false statement, it's no solution. And number 5 is an example of that. I don't have any distributive property. I cannot combine like terms on either side, but I can move the variables together to one side. So I'm going to subtract 4m to both sides, and negative 4 equals 0. Is that a true statement? No. When you have a false statement, it is a no solution. It means that there is no value for that given variable that will make this equation true. If by chance you were solving and you were to get or render a true statement like this, if it's a true statement, then what you have is all real numbers. That means that any number you plug into x will render you a correct answer. Okay, number 4 here. I got a plus 5 equals negative 5a plus 5. I don't have distributive property to complete. I don't have anything to combine like terms, but I am going to move the variables together to one side. So I'm going to add 5a to both sides, giving me 6a plus 5 equals 5. Subtract 5 to both sides. 6a equals 0. divided by 6a equals 0. Okay? Don't be confused. Sometimes when people see that a equals 0, they say it's a no solution. That's false. That's not a no solution. A equals 0. Number 6, don't have any distributive property, but I can combine like terms. So p minus 1 equals 8p plus minus 8. Sorry about that, gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8p to both sides, leaving me with negative 7p minus 1 equals negative 8. Add the 1 to both sides. Negative 7p equals negative 7. Divide by negative 7, and p will equal 1. Are there any questions, guys? I know I'm going pretty fast, but we're good. May I continue? Thank you, gentlemen. You're the best. Now, let's complicate a little bit more. You tell me, what do you think you do here? Anyone? Come on, shoot it out. You got to get the variables together. So what do you want to do? Tell me. Tell me what to do. Good job. Subtract 5p. I could have chosen to go and subtract 8p, but it doesn't really matter. He's going to keep it positive here. So I've got negative 14 equals 3p plus 4. Now what do I do, my brother? Subtract negative 4. Very good, gentlemen. Got negative 18 equals 3p. Now I divide by 3. Bada bing, bada boom. And there you go, my brothers. P equals negative 6. Bam. Tell me, what do I do here? Subtract what? Okay, tell me what to do. Subtract which one? There you go, my brother. Subtract p to both sides. Very good. But I'm left with negative 4 equals negative 9. Is that a true statement? So what would that be, my brothers? No solution. You guys are on fire. Good job. Okay, now we got some distributive property action here. And remember that when you have a multi-step equation, you always undo distributive property first. So this little negative, what does that little negative really represent? A negative 1. So I'm going to distribute that to both sides, my brothers. And I've got negative x minus 4. I'm going to add the 4 to both sides, giving me negative 4 equals negative x. Divide negative 1 to both sides, and x equals 4. Number 10, I've got to distribute that negative 4 to everything first. And I've got 12 equals 24x plus 12. Subtract 12 to both sides. 0 equals 24x. Divide by 24, and x equals 0. Number 11, I've got a negative being distributed here, so I must distribute it. So I've got 14 equals negative p plus 8. Subtract the 8 to both sides. 6 equals negative p. Divide both sides by negative 1, gentlemen. And p equals, pay attention, Mr. Morrow. P equals negative 6. For number 12, what do I do, boys? Tell me. Tell me what to do. That's exactly correct, my brother. Distribute that negative 1, giving me negative 7 plus 4x equals 9. Keep going. Tell me what to do, my brother. Yes, you're going to add 7 to both sides. You're awesome. Bless you. 4x equals 16. Tell me. That's it, my man. You should come up here and teach. You got it. I'm proud of you. May I continue, brothers? Because as you know, there's a lot of examples. That's the only way to really learn. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's pick on some people. Not pick on, but let me have someone solve it for me. Tell me what to do all the way through. Go. I do what you say. Distribute the 6. So I've got negative 18 minus 6k equals 6 plus 18k. Go. Okay, he's going to add 6k to both sides. I like it. I like your style. That's positive 6. And that's plus 24k. Go for it, brother. Subtract the 6. Right? And then that gives me negative 24. Okay. Equals 24k. And then Divide 24 to both sides. Bada bing, bada boom. Great job, son. Great job. Next, tell me what to do. Come on, someone. Yes, sir. Distribute that -2. Absolutely right. 5n plus 34 equals -2 plus 14n. He's going to subtract 5n to both sides. I love it. I love it. Giving me 34 equals -2 plus 9n. Add 2 to both sides. You guys are doing great. I'm so proud of you. Divide the 9 to both sides, and n will equal 4. Again, when in doubt, plug it in. Okay, guys? And make sure it works. Okay, my brother, tell me what to do. That's exactly correct. You're going to distribute that 2, which is 8x minus 6 minus 8 equals 4 plus 2x. All right, my man, now what do I do? I wouldn't do that yet. You see how I have like terms here first? Let's go ahead and combine those. So I've got 8x minus 14 equals 4 plus 2x. Okay, now what would you like to do, my brother? Now subtract the 2x to both sides. Very good. So I've got 6x minus 14 equals 4. What do I do now? No, you're doing it right. I'm just rewriting it. You add the 14 to both sides. That's exactly perfection. 6x equals 18. And then you divide both sides by 6, and x equals 3. You are a boss. Tell me what to do. Distribute the -8, giving me 3n minus 5 equals -48 minus 40n.
Then you add the -3, subtract
Right, you subtract 3n to both sides, because I want to get the variables together on one side. I've got -5 equals -48 minus 40, minus 43n. Go for it, brother.
Then you add the 5 to the 48.
No, I would not add the 5 to the 48 because then I'm adding more stuff to the n. I want to get the n alone.
Add the 48 to the 5.
You add the 48 to both sides. Very good. Because I want to get that n alone. Giving me 43 equals -43n divided by -43. And n equals -1. Excellent. All right. Talk to me, brothers. Who wants this one? Come on. Talk to me. Distribute this negative, okay, which gives me -1 minus 7x, and also, very good, the -6 giving me 42 plus 6x equals 36. Now what, my man? Very good. You're going to combine like terms. So -1 plus 42 is 41. -7x plus 6x is on the same side equals -x equals 36. Now what, my man? Subtract 41 to both sides. I'm very proud of you. -x equals -5. And you divide by -1. Yes, sir. You got this. I better watch out or you guys are going to take my job from me because you're doing a great job. Awesome. All right, who wants this bad boy here? Sir, my brother. That's right. You distribute the -3 and also the 4, giving me -12x minus 9 plus 24x plus 4 equals 43. Talk to me. Very good. You combine the -9 and the 4, which gives me -5, and the -12x and 24x, giving me 12x equals 43. You add the 5. Absolutely, man. Yes. 12x equals 48. Awesome. And then you divide by 12. Absolutely, brother. And that equals 4. And last but not least, talk to me. Who wants it? How about you, my brother? Let's do it.
So I wrote on the right side the 13, I did
I am very proud of you, my brother. 24a minus 22 equals negative 4 plus 24a. Fantabulous.
Then I would add portable size.
Okay, if you want to go that route, we can do that. Well, you know what? I wanted to train you the right way, though. First, try to get the variables together on one side first. You mean the you mean add the 20, subtract 24a to both sides,
Oh,
because I want to get the a's together first. That's okay, man. That's why we do this. That's why we're learning. I guess I am going to keep my job. That's good. Hey, that wasn't a shot. That wasn't a shot. Come on. You guys are doing great. So then what would I have here, my man? Is that a true or false statement? So this would be a thank you so much. Hey, good job, buddy. And I'm glad you made that mistake, because mistakes are how we learn. If we were all perfect, guys, life would be very boring. Trust me.
learn us
No, I'm very proud of you, son. Okay, how about last but not least, number 20? My brother, distribute the negative 5 and distribute this positive 5. So I got negative 5 plus 25x minus 40x minus 10 equals, see how negative 4x minus 8x, I can combine those to make it a negative 12x. Now what, my brother? That's exactly right. Combine like terms. Negative 5 minus 10 is negative 15. And 25x minus 40x is negative 15x equals negative 12x. You want to get the x's together on one side, so I add 15x to both sides, and negative 15 equals 3x. I divide the 3 to both sides, and x equals negative 5. Bing, bang, boom, we are done. Does that make sense, my brothers? Thank you so very much. You guys did awesome like always. You're the best. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you learned a lot.